Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Construction Week's Expert Interviews. As part of these interviews, we sit down virtually with industry experts to gain insight on relevant topics impacting the built environment. And today I'm joined by Stuart Smith, who is the CEO of Lootah Engineering Construction. Stuart, of course, has successfully worked in and managed building and civil projects for over 30 years. So, first off, of course, I introduced you as the CEO of Lootah Engineering Construction, which was up until recently Lootah Building Systems. So do you want to tell us a bit about the purpose behind the rebranding and what does this mean for your company and your clients?
I mean, to go back a bit with LBS, which is Lootah Building Systems, they had been in operation since 2014, and they had been always working under the umbrella of Lootah Real Estate Company, part of Lootah Holding, which we all are. And they had primarily been acting as project manager or main contractor, but subcontracting all of the works to someone else. So they were working internally, and then I was brought in over a year and a half ago, where there was a vision to reset the company, reform the company into a more traditional contractor, not only working internally, but also with a view to building capability and entering the external market. So with that in mind, and the reformations that I brought into the company in terms of governance, bringing in tier one staff that had primarily worked with me before, or people we recruited, then the rebranding was part of that process. And we went for Lootah Engineering and Construction, basically as a visual identity, rebranding the company and reflect the professionalism and the seriousness we were looking to bring to the market as a traditional main contractor.
Wonderful. And Stuart, I wish you and the team, of course, all the luck in your new avatar.
Thanks for that.
Going by your project, Stuart, Lootah, of course, focuses on low rises, with most of your projects, or rather all of your projects, being about 4-storied. Now, are you, what is the reason behind this? And are you planning to venture out of the space at all? Are you going to, say, high rises at all for future projects?
To put it in context, when I took over about a year and a half ago, we had a G+1 license, and it was a fairly small contracting business, and it still is. We're still looking to grow the business, but at a G+1. But very soon after that, we went for G+4, and we got the G+4 licensing. That simultaneously met the demands of what Lootah Real Estate were doing with their development projects, where we took over one of the projects in JVC, which was a G+5, and took over that as main contractor. So that, our licensing at G4 and us doing those height of buildings at the moment is basically a consequence of that. But we are now actively looking to go G12. We're hoping to have that very soon in the new year, which will open up the market for us externally, and will also have the opportunity to work with our own real estate developer if they proceed to higher range buildings as well.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that you are planning to venture out of the space, and you're looking at, say, a G+12. Is that going to be a residential project as well? Could you share with us some details?
At the moment, yeah, I mean, we're looking at potentially, I mean, we know the market is down at the moment, but yeah, it just covers more, it gives us more scope in the market to tender for more projects that the market hopefully turns. And we will be looking, we are actively looking at now and participating in some tenders that are residential, but it just opens up the market a bit wider for us and what we are aspiring to.
Right. And Stuart, of course, we've addressed the residential space that Lootah is working in, but Lootah is also bashing ahead aggressively in the warehouse and storage space. So, of course, around last year this time, the CEO of Lootah Real Estate Development had mentioned that the Expo 2020 has increased the demand for storage space and also increase the interest for warehouses. Now, has Lootah been working on warehouses in this regard, and do you now see the supply catching up with the estimated demand?
For Lootah Real Estate, they have an arm called Seniat where they have 3 phases proposed for the future down in DIC. Phase 1 contains 18 industrial units, all around about 20 to 25,000 square feet, depending on the model. And we are looking to mobilize early in the new year for the first 3 units on that. So we're very active and very keen to get involved in that, which will kick off in the new year. And hopefully that more units will come online from our real estate development company. And we are also hoping to be involved in 1 or 2 other warehouse projects with other clients, which we have been pursuing for the last few months. So we're hopeful that we're going to be involved in that market, yes.
Wonderful, that sounds great. Now, Lootah, of course, is a local contractor. What I want to ask you is that, is there a shortage of local contractors that provide, say, international standards of quality, safety, and value? And how does Lootah aim to change this?
In my experience in the region, yes, I believe there is a shortage of local contractors that are providing projects, outcomes at the proper quality and proper safety. Don't get me wrong, there is good contractors out there as well, for sure. And there's some contractors that I admire a lot that are not so big, but are medium ranged, and obviously some of the bigger contractors as well. But from where we sit, and our position is LEC and growing in the market, we definitely believe that there's a shortage of contractors that are producing the right outcomes in terms of quality, safety, and time handovers. We all know the market is suffered in the last 2 or 3 years, and particularly this year. We see that we're looking to bring value to a client through recognizing our responsibilities and our obligations under the quality and specification of the project, and also at the safest outcomes as well. And we've got the people on board that can do that and know how to do that.
And just to go back to your point of, there is a shortage of local contractors that are able to provide international standards. Are you able to call out what the immediate problems are in the industry right now?
Well, I mean, I think if you look around what's happening and you see some of the projects that are getting handed over, and you see some of the assets that when you enter or whatever, you can see that there's a lot of issues with the quality of the detail and how it's been handed over, and a lot of problems with testing and commissioning. I don't think, I mean, we all blame in the market, or the clients are not paying on time, there's a liquidity issue and all this. I think, and that's true, there's no doubt that's true, but I think a lot of contractors need to pull their socks up and meet their obligations in terms of how they hand over the project, how they snag their own projects, and how they test and commission and hand the project over in the right manner. And I think as an industry, we're failing on that. As I say, there is good contractors out there that do that, medium size, the bigger size contractors, but I feel that there's a dearth of contractors who really understand how to hand over a project properly in terms of how a main contractor should, and build the trust with the clients.
Right, very well said. Now let's focus on collaboration. If you could tell me, Stuart, how significant is collaboration in ensuring project delivery for Lootah, and why is Lootah, of course, looking to adopt a 2-stage tendering process?
I mean, it's a follow-on from what I just spoke about earlier, about how we can make this industry better all around. I feel one of the things over the years recently that's happened is that the client and the contractors have became apart. The loss of trust, and basically the loss of trust through some of the issues I brought up earlier. It really is crying out for contractors and clients to get together, to collaborate early on in the project, pre-contract, look at designs, value engineer, look at planning, take the risk out of the project, and ultimately that will bring the cost down by taking the risk out of the project and having a better collaborative relationship between client and contractor. There has been a tendency over the years with the lack of trust where we have people in the middle between the contractors and the clients, and I feel we need to get back to basics and build that trust again. And the contractors have to step up to the plate with that in terms of how they're going to deliver with transparency and trust with the client. And at the same time, the client has to show it back. And I think a lot of cost wastage could be taken out of the process in terms of middlemen that are in between client and contractors. We can get that out the door, as well as taking risk out of the project, which will take cost out of the project.
Right. Now, lastly, Stuart, let's talk about the way forward, as well as Lootah's recently initiated project. I believe Lootah broke ground on the 1,400 meter square lifestyle hub in DIPD, Ivan Retail Lifestyle Hub. Now, could you tell me a bit more in terms of the stakeholder details and the timelines as well for this project?
The timeline, it was a 5-month program from cutting the ground quite recently. The developer is Lootah Real Estate, a development company. We're obviously the main contractor. The consultant is Albadia, and one of our main subcontractors is Gen Focus for the MEP works. It's approximately 14,000 square feet of project, 2 retail buildings. We're taking it to Shell and Core, obviously for the retailers to come in after that. And opposite on the same avenue, we've completed like a last exit burger area, van area for the residents to enjoy. Future projects, as I say, I can't say too much at the moment, but we're obviously Seniat I can talk about because that's with our own developer, and we'll be kicking that off early new year. But we have got other opportunities, hopefully, that will come through with another warehouse projects for some significant clients, as well as a couple of opportunities in community renovation as well for one or two of the developers renovating some of the community projects. And we've also opened up this year, we've done a couple of projects for engineers' office, which are pretty private, but we've opened up a good relationship with engineers' office, so we're hoping for future projects with them.
Great, Stuart. I think Lootah is, of course, ending the year on a very positive note, and I wish you all the luck for a positive 2021 as well.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks.
Happy to have had you on the show today, Stuart. That was all for this episode, but we shall be back soon. So watch the space for more such insightful discussions with experts from within the industry. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to Construction Week's YouTube channel. That was all for today, and until next time, goodbye.